today I am joined by my good friend Tyrone over at the Circle Club. How are we going, buddy?
Lovely. Thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure to talk to the goddess of mischief.
I had to wear. I'm not going to wear it the whole time because it's going to tick me off. But I had to just show off my cool little props that we took for Halloween. The
Oh my
Santa.
god, I love that. That's
Yeah, we
amazing.
went all out one Halloween ago.
Oh, I love it. I
But
love it.
yeah,
Love it.
got to get in the spirit because we are talking today about Loki season 2 and that epic conclusion to the Loki
Dude.
journey that we've had. Oh, chef's kiss. Was it not perfect?
I mean, perfection. Just absolute perfection. For those of us, for
I
those
am
of
listening.
us who love villains, and we know how much you love villains, this was just perfection. I mean, it really is like I think don't even look at this just a Marvel thing. This is like a great story to see someone go from a villain to where he was. Incredible. I mean, I mentioned that this was like Endgame for me. It felt the same way. I like I don't know how people don't get emotional at the end, just like oh my god, Loki. You know what I mean? Oh, just he's the
Yeah.
best. Tom Hiddleston
Yeah.
is the best. It's a shame you couldn't work out with your lady, your bestie.
Yes, he is the best. And seeing that evolution of Loki, as you said, I don't know how anyone could feel anything other than I want to say heartwarming, but honestly, my heart was broken because I just kept thinking like he's making the ultimate sacrifice right now, pretty much similar to what Tony Stark did, with the I am Iron Man click.
Hmm.
He's doing the exact same thing. He's carrying the weight of the burden, I think they use that term, of all these branches, and he's giving life to all these timelines that were ultimately going to die in order to sit on this throne isolated until at the end of time, because that is
Forever.
the end forever.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And that was just such a huge heartbreaking moment for me because the prior episode we have Sylvie confronting him saying, what is it that you want? Like, you're free to do what you want, Loki. Go and do what you want. What do you want? And he kept saying he wants his friends to be happy. It's all about his friends. And then
Right,
she said, no, what is it really about? And he admitted that he was scared to be alone. So to think now that he is
right.
going to be alone
Alone.
on this throne, it broke my heart. It truly did. And I just think the writing of it and how they
Oh,
just it was so perfect, but it makes
man.
me sad.
It was, I mean, I'm so glad you said that the writing, this is why writers get paid. Like, this type of writing is just so unbelievable. If you go back and watch season one and then, watch it through as a binge, you may somewhat see it. I don't think you would. If it was your first time, I don't think you would see it coming because it was just so well done. But he kept saying, glorious purpose, or like, I'm burdened with glory. And you're just like, he says that line, and you're kind of like, yeah,
But what
Loki's
does
just,
it
yeah,
mean?
yeah, Loki's just talking. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
Loki, right?
Yeah.
But then to have it come full circle, where you're like, no, he's literally like, he's become such a good person. He cares about his friends, and
Yeah.
he's scared to be like doesn't want to be alone. There's this like flicker in Tom Hiddleston's eye that happens where he realizes like, I know what I need to do. I don't want to do it, but I need to do it. And then he transitions into that friggin' costume, and it was so incredible. I mean, some of the best CGI we've gotten. This to me is what they need to do with these television shows. A part one, part two like this, you don't continue it. You let the character grow. I don't know what else to say. I'm speechless. It was just so good, Jamie Lee. This is probably one of my favorite projects of all time. It was so good.
Yeah, I agree. And everything, as you said, like the CGI, the whole spaghetti part when we're in the
Oh,
loom, all of that looked incredible. That symbolism and that transition from the end where he was on that runway becoming the god of, I think they're calling it stories, or the god of time, or
yeah.
whatever you want to name this Loki that we saw in the finale. It was perfect, him giving
Hmm.
life to the branches and him stepping up. It reminded me of Jesus taking the throne. Not that I'm a
Nope.
religious person at
Sure.
all, but that's
Yeah.
what I felt, and I felt
Totally.
very emotional watching it.
No, yeah, it was epic. It was
It was
absolutely
so
epic. I
good.
mean, and then you think about how like OB is like he's like the branches are dying. Like when we got that line originally, you
Yeah.
didn't realize what was going on, and like the fact that it's like that's what I mean about the writing. It's like when he goes back to sit with Mobius one on one, that line doesn't change very much,
Mm,
and it's like pretty much the same. And you're like, the writers were thinking about this from season one, episode one.
yeah.
This is incredible. This is
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much. I really, really do.
Yeah, they really had, pun intended, an end game. You know what I mean? Like they knew where they wanted to go and they knew the path that they needed to take to get there. And what a path it was. Like there was so many things that made this perfect. We mentioned the CGI, we mentioned the writing, but also the performances. I said to you on your chat, all the characters in this, I loved all of them.
Mhm.
Mobius, B15, Ouroboros. I loved Victor Timely. I don't know why. I mean, I love Jonathan Majors as anything, but
Sure.
just seeing him be this stuttering, really intellectual.
Quirky.
Yeah, I loved it. And Jonathan Majors has really good range to be these different characters and bring them all to life. But
Mhm.
all of these characters are what the difference was in Loki. Like when we
Yes.
knew Loki as the god of mischief, he never had friends. Nobody believed him. Nobody
Mhm.
trusted him. He was mischievous. He was an outsider.
Yep.
And it took season one and coming into season two for him to be accepted and to feel loved, to find these friends, to find
Mhm.
Sylvie who appreciated him, to find Morbius who loved him as a friend, and even B15 eventually, welcomed him as not a variant, as a friend. So
Sure,
to,
right.
to see these guys help him transform to become this good god was truly beautiful. What did you think of that cast and the
No,
characters?
yeah, like back in season one, I wasn't huge on B15. I didn't quite understand. Like, there was a lot of folks online who were like, "Oh, I want to see more of his character. I want to see more." I wasn't quite understanding. And then with Sylvie, I started to get a little disconnected from her at the start of this season because I was getting a little over her shtick. I thought it was a bit annoying. But as the story went on, you kind of understood more why she felt the way she did. And I think all the characters had their own purpose, but as you said, their little details, their little motives, their reasonings, their actions, even like the little key lime pie thing, like it all had a building towards Loki becoming a better person overall. And I just loved how the characters were who they were. And the thing about Loki is he doesn't trust anyone. That's always been his thing. That's why Sylvie struggles. But this version of Loki decides to trust Mobius, to trust his friends, to build that. And I think it was really Mobius being instrumental to a lot of that. Also realizing that the TVA wasn't what it was, it kind of made him realize I don't have to be who people tell me I have to be. I don't have to be this predetermined version of myself. I can be the
Yeah.
version that I believe I am and want to be. Thor may not understand it. Tony Stark may not get it. Natasha may not. But this is who I want to be and am. And that's what kind of guts me a little bit here at the end because I'm like, man, I would just, I want Thor and everyone to know that
How
this
good
is
he
who Loki is.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It just it hurts. It hurts. But we
It
know.
does. Yeah, we know, but it is very, very heartbreaking. The silver lining at the end of it is that hopefully in some sort of timeline, Sylvie gets to meet Thor and does speak of the good deeds or the
Yes.
good deed that saved literally the entire universe. So
Right.
hopefully that happens. But yeah, and it really opens up this whole new world of MCU, really, because we
Yeah.
can have these characters who we know are no longer in the MCU return as variants or on different timelines that we may have
Hmm.
missed, that we might not have seen and things like that. So it opens up a whole new world, to quote Aladdin. And I love
Hmm.
that.
Yes.
They can work any angle that they want now. It's very, very clever.
And if you all are a fan of that or have any theories or like you love the multiverse, highly recommend you, like little plug here, go see Captain Marvel, or I mean the Marvels. Even if you don't see the Marvels, just look up the end credit scene because I think you'll kind of you'll really appreciate what Loki did. What Loki did had significant impact on the direction that we're going in the MCU, and I think the way that the writers have decided in the producers, let's delay these projects, let's rewrite these like Blade is getting rewritten, Captain America Brave New World, they're reshooting things. There's a lot of reshoots going on right now, and I think that's a
Mm,
good thing because it means they see, okay, what we have here in Loki is it's working, right? This is a gem. The first season wasn't just some luck thing that happened. Like, this is what folks wanted, and it's no mistake or it's no secret that the day after Loki's finale happens, that all this no news about Marvel making delays, and you know what I mean, because they have this realization that what we have here is a really phenomenal project. So I
yeah,
just, yeah, I loved it, absolutely loved it. And as you said, the direction we can go into now, I'm very excited for.
yeah,
Very
it's
excited
very
for it. No
promising, isn't it?
spoilers. No spoilers, but take my advice, guys. Go see the movie.
I feel like it's the end for Tom Hiddleston. I feel like we might see him again in Kang Dynasty, or
Yeah.
Secret Wars, is it?
King
Whatever
Dynasty or
one's,
Secret Wars. Yeah.
yeah. I feel like we will see him again, but not this version of him.
hmm
And I thought this version was very beautiful to see that evolution of God of Mischief into God of what we have now.
It's the
Yeah, so I,
version that we want. It's the version we want to see more of, but we can't. If we don't, because if he doesn't do what he's doing, then it all doesn't work. It's gonna be, I don't know. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, part of me selfishly, I'm like, I almost just don't even want to see Loki come back a little bit, because if it's not the one that we love and know, if it's the old version, I'm like, but I love Loki. He's my favorite character. I love him.
oh, lovely.
Yeah, Doctor
I feel
Strange and Loki. Those are my guys.
lovely. I don't want to see him again, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I feel like that was closure.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
perfect finale and a perfect and heroic ending, exactly like Tony Stark. To be honest, I don't want to see Tony Stark
Neither
return
do I.
because it would undo all of that perfectness. I don't know any other word to describe it, but
Perfectness.
that perfectness that we
Mhm.
got, it will undo all that. It will undermine everything, and I don't want that to happen. And same with
Yeah.
Loki. He got that perfect ending, although it was heartbreaking and although it's sad, that's life. And we now have a multiversal universe
Yeah.
because of him. So I don't
No,
know.
yeah, absolutely. It's been sad, really, but like bittersweet. And I think what you said about Tony Stark coming back. I'm right there with you. I don't need to see that. Bring back Iron Man, but a variant or something. Fine, but Robert Downey Jr., I like to think he had to do what he had to do for us to get to this point in the universe. And I just think bringing him back, it just undoes that a little bit for me. You know what I mean? Um, Even if it's like a gray version of him, it's just like, go on, go retire. You know what I mean? Like, it's just. But I will say this, Jamie Lee. So, Secret Wars, I've been thinking about like the title a lot. I think the reason it's going to be called Secret Wars is because the regular citizens, the people on Earth, the people on Asgard, they're not going to know about it. It's going to be more of like a cosmic battle. So I'm like, it's very possible maybe that Loki would have to be somehow involved. I don't know how, I don't know what way, but if they bring him back, make it only for something epic and large like that in one time. You know? I don't want to see Loki just popping in cameos in New York, and you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah, I
and you
don't think
have
it's going to be that.
Sylvie now too. So like if you want someone to be that mischievous Loki, let it be her.
Yeah.
You can't fully trust her, but you kind of can, which is
Yeah.
the OG Loki. That's like the Loki we used to have. And I feel like too, at first I was a little confused. I was like, why is I feel like she's not as involved as I thought she would be this season. But
Okay.
I think it makes sense because they basically turned her into the old Loki that we have. So it's possible that they start to use her as the old Loki, and then
Yeah.
maybe she gets that arc and that growth over time. But yeah, I don't know. Don't touch our Loki, our God of stories, or God of time, whatever you want to call them, and don't touch Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark. Leave them be.
Yeah, that's your final call.
Yeah,
I agree with that because I truly think that, as I said, we got closure for Loki, and I think that there's other people who can be the heroes and other people who can be the mischievous villains of our MCU world. I know I've harped on about this a lot, especially on your stream just before, but Jonathan Majors is fantastic to me. And the
Mm,
fact that he can portray all of these variants of Kang, we saw He Who Remains, who was quirky and fun and sarcastic. And
mm-hmm.
then we saw Victor Timely, who's this intelligent, stuttering, like
Nerdy,
just a
yeah,
really
like
nerdy, sweet guy.
yeah,
And then we're going to see the other variants of him. Oh, we did in Ant-Man as well, the Conqueror,
right,
but we're going to see other variants. And I just think he's somebody that can be our villain. We don't need to have this mischievous god anymore because we've got a new one.
no,
We've got
right,
fresh blood coming through. We've got, Kamala Khan. We've got young heroes, and we've got other people that we can be introduced into our world where we don't have to rely on these OG people anymore. And although
yeah,
that's sad,
yeah,
it's also something to celebrate that they did their job
totally.
and they did it amazing, and now we can move forward with
Yeah,
new people.
it's I think it's hard for people, not just in this the spectrum of Marvel, but in life, to kind of move on and grow up and let that next generation comes in. But like, if you really think about like superheroes, that's what they do. It's like you have Spider-Man, and then you get Miles Morales, you have Batman, then you get Robin. There's always that next generation that needs to come in. It's like you don't have Michael Keaton still playing Batman. We have different versions, and so I think that needs to happen. And I think Marvel is a little hesitant or nervous just because, like anything, the first time is tough, it's difficult, it's scary. But I think so far, especially with Phase 4 not being everyone's favorite, I did like a lot of the things, but I know a lot of people it wasn't their favorite. This is a good step in that right direction. One thing I want to mention about your man, Jonathan Majors, is that
I'm
scene.
sorry, but
You
I
know,
love him.
yeah, when He Who Remains originally dies, I was kind of like, wow, that's, I mean, okay, like surprising. And then so the fact that we see now that he's not really dead, and he's kind of like, you really thought I was gonna kill you? I mean, let you kill me? Ha ha. And then him and Loki have that back and forth, but then Loki's just absolutely a badass when like he's like, oh well, I guess you're gonna have to go against Sylvie. He's like, what makes you think this is our first conversation? I was like my mouth
Yeah,
dropped. I was like, "Holy shoot!" Like
yeah,
what? That was epic. And so part of me, I'm like, God, Jamie Lee, I need more Loki versus Kang. I need that. So I don't know if that happens in Secret Wars or Kang Dynasty, but like I just need it one more time. I really do. Right now,
yeah.
Loki kind of got the last. I say He Who Remains got the first punch. Loki's got the second punch. So I'm like, it would be interesting to see. Maybe Thor gets the last punch or something, and out of his brother, maybe goes, and this is for Loki. Like, oh, like.
I don't know. Ah, your dreams are
I
coming to
know,
life at the moment,
I know,
Tyrone.
I know.
I don't know if we'll see any of those things. Oh
Oh
God, bless
God,
ya.
I
But
know.
yeah, that scene that you're talking about that was freaking fantastic. That back and forward, and Jonathan Majors, just commentating on himself. We talked about the fact that he
Yeah,
was mocking his own impersonation of Victor Strange. Like that
right,
alone was hilarious.
right,
The jabs when he was talking about like, oh, we're doing this again. Ooh, ooh, when he was
right.
doing all these things with Sylvie. This is
You got me
yes,
there. Yeah.
it's all replays, and
Oh,
it was that Groundhog Day, and he was just commentating on watching the same movie that he'd watched for centuries. So that
yeah.
was quite funny to watch him. Oh, it's always great to watch Jonathan Majors,
Yeah,
but yeah,
and
that
and
scene.
like you said too, we didn't talk about it really much, but the genius idea of them having Loki kind of go back in time trying to figure it out, and it not working, and it's not working, and but he's so determined that he ends up spending centuries to learn
Yeah,
the science that he needs to. I mean, it's just a testament to how dedicated, how beautiful Loki's soul was. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And boy, I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him. Really, it's just not gonna get emotional, but I
I
miss
know
him.
you're making me want to give hugs and be sad again. I'm not going back to that place.
I
Oh
and
God.
once as soon as it finished, Corey and I were gonna talk about it, and I was like, dude, I need to play that again. I watched it back to back like a maniac because I just and what's funny is like I'm sitting here saying, oh, people gotta move on and grow up, but I literally couldn't. I had to watch it right back because I'm like, my favorite character is now like gone. This is insane.
Yeah,
Oh man, it's sad. It's the end of an era. It's really an
yeah.
end of an era, man.
And it definitely feels like it. Like seeing that, you can't see the picture behind my screen, but the picture that's on this in the background is just him with his crown sitting on that throne at the end of time, and he just has this content smirk on his face, knowing that he did the right thing for not only his friends and his family but the entire universe. He just
Yeah.
became this redeeming god, and again,
Oh,
it just makes me so
you love
happy
him.
and oh, heartwarming, but also heartbreaking. So that's what we thought of it. That's our thoughts on Loki season 2. Let us know in the comment section what you guys thought about it. And if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to my channel and then head to the link in the description where you'll find my friend Tyrone's link over at the Circle Club. Make sure you give him a subscribe as well. Alrighty, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks
Peace.
for coming, Tyrone.
Bye.